Welcome to our lovely future humans and to the collective who is really excited for this lovely ascension day and every day because we do mental, emotional, physical growth. And so, spiritual and personal growth, people come on over here, the 5D collective. We're grounded in reality, mystics, spiritual, and mindful, secular, science, atheist, all of it ones. We're going to begin with we know our self worth. Okay, so I'm going to have some channeled guidance, food for thought messages, and this is, again, woo-woo pseudoscience is great and dandy. You got a securely attached, non-traumatized person in front of you. I got an integrated brain. My body's connected, and that is why we take healing trauma seriously, so much so that we won't pass it down. But actions speak louder than words. So people who want to stay with their child-charged, self-righteous little buttholes and unhealed, they're the two-faced cowards. They're also unhealthy, they're immature, they're insecure, and they are also sick minds. And some, the varying of degree, I have not created a spectrum yet, but I do enjoy that Michael Stone, forensic criminologist, gives us a scale. They all end up in prison. Prisons, luckily, get updated with good therapists. They will all be supported to heal if they want. You don't make anybody heal because you don't make anybody not marry the wrong person. You also don't make anybody not do anything. I mean, come on, does anybody convince you? I won't convince you. I'm not trying though. So what's exciting about science-based practices and the embodied awareness and resilient people is we know science heals trauma. Then you do spiritual personal growth. And they're the best of the best of the best of the best. EMDR, child parts work, somatic sensory motor. Now that you know how to raise your frequency and now that you have a healed brain and body because you did what you needed to do to get strong, now we have a consistent contingent communicator. And now we have a person who's able to completely contribute to our human herd as our human herd consistently has shit hitting the fan due to the unhealthy, emotionally immature, insecure, sick minds of a bunch of 8 billion. We don't know what the percentage is. I'm not going to try getting the number because that's not how it works. God is perfect. So is Akash source and divinity, and I ain't it, and no mystic spiritual one is, and they have forgotten, all of them that want to talk about devil Lucifer, because they completely ignore neuroscience. They completely ignore science-based researches and all of it that has proven, without a shadow of doubt, like Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within you. And he also said, forgive for they don't know. And Stephen Porges confirms, biologically rude people, they don't know it. They don't have room for you. And my facade friend and a bunch more of just, not just him, a bunch more of men and women, I don't know these. They're completely emotionally, mentally, physically insecure, immature, unhealthy, you name it. Actions speak louder than words. I will know what I have as I speak to you right now. Walk a walk and talk a talk and let me see what you're made of, Cusco. And hey, Cusco, I'm doing great. I'm Pacha. I'm heading over to the village. Where are you heading? Are you building some other pretend, whatever you want to do? Sure, have fun. That's why we feel sad. You know what they miss out on? Do you know what people who don't get their true self online miss out on? Their true self. In addition to having common sense. So you do know magic works for every one of our brothers and sisters. They're all angels and none of them are monsters. When they dehumanize them and when they use their self-righteous energy, those are all immature, emotionally speaking people. They're sick because their body is protecting. So distress makes you sick. Stress doesn't. So you can actually consistently, don't worry, you won't get rid of stress. I actually found out you can get which happened to me. I have panic attacks, and from super excitement and like really wow, you can get panic attacks. I had to get up and I'm like, look, thank goodness they all left. It was amazing. I was so touched. I just need to go home for now because I'm feeling completely uncomfortable with excitement, and I need to though come back tomorrow when I'm not nauseous anymore. So, and I have a lot of trauma attachment education. That's why I was like, wow, that's so amazing. So no matter where you turn, are you saying we have to put up with it, not show it? No, I don't actually find that my body's done anything wrong. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It has fear in it and my nervous system. I learned to manage my system, nervous system. So when you have fun with mindful mindset, because that's neutrality and duality, the advanced, we have inner growth mindset online courses. I forget to mention it to you because the main modules are for free. The other beginners, intermediate, advanced, beginners is on Udemy, but not yet intermediate and advanced. And the advanced is once you're mastered with all of you, all of me. You cannot take any of me. So magic works through you with our ascension energies. We are all very happy because that's how the 5D works. 4D, they continue to follow limited consciousness people. So I'm going to leave it alone and get to sharing with you all the messages that are at hand. And if you're new, just sit down, relax, because I like to tell you a little bit of stories. And Maria's always here, even when I'm downloading, channeling, when I have all the galactic beings. Jesus smiled at me yesterday, and Buddha and I high-fived. Oh, I loved it. I was like, okay, so you really wanted me to say that. Okay, that I got it, Jesus, but I didn't do anything different. Well, I actually shared a lot of my subjective thoughts on how nobody is following your word, because it's easy to forgive. They don't know they're being rude. It's not real rudeness. It's called biological rudeness, because they have completely no capacity to own their 0-8-year-old. And I did the best I can, and I continue to do the best I can. So actions speak louder than words. I will watch you walk. I will watch you talk. The minute you treat your neighbor who threw shit in your yard like shit, well, you're just as equally shitty as the neighbor is, because you don't know how to harness your nervous system, nor do they. And 2 wrongs don't ever make a right. And 2 fists don't make anybody smarter. They're just not using this. So I like to see how a person is a master of their own physical, emotional, mental plane. That's when you have an actual badass, not a moron. I'm not talking about you. I see morons all the time, and I wish I was a big monster. And that's when God laughs at me, and so does Akash Source. They don't laugh at me. They're like, you remember you don't know everything, right? Yes, I remember that I don't know everything. And so we all have choice points. So does the world. It's very fascinating to see it, by the way. I'm being sarcastic right now. I'm trying to make fun out of when I see the sick minds out there who continue to think they're cool. You're losers. You're not cool. But I don't need to smile. Again, God's chiming in for me not to judge my brothers and sisters of human suffering, a waste of my fucking time. And I say, but they all don't like my ventral energy. And I still can feel that when they see me smile, they think, you know, I bet she's pretending. And that behind that smile is a woman who suffers and is just so alone. Oh, people make me laugh because they're so busy not noticing how much time they spend in other people's spaces. And then I think, this is so sad. Like, really? Well, wait a minute. They have something good to get off on, so I guess it's okay as they isolate themselves and just keep ruminating and, you know, doing fantasy. And I can't make them get their brains to a good therapist. They don't want it. They actually don't think they need it, which actually Bezel van der Kolk mentions, and so many others. So Janina Fisher, she's awesome as well. And when someone's like, it's not that easy, Maria, I didn't say it was easy. I didn't say it was hard. I'm just pointing out we have emotionally immature, insecure, sick people who follow people around who give them ways to watch their backs, and they don't wonder once, wow, I'm still watching my back. Maybe, just maybe, in an effort to have my body feel safe and at ease, instead of going to that retreat this month, I might begin a journey with a good therapist who can help me. And I want you. I can give you spiritual personal growth. It won't help the doors of ego shutdown you just told me about. Because I know exactly how much you need someone and you don't want it. Okay, so it's not funny, and at the same time, it's the real deal. They are out there, light and lightning, no equanimity, yuck. They're trying to cage us up in anxiety and depression. That's not a cage. They are using words that are technical. You just don't like them. I get triggered with words all the time, and then I grow up and I say, Maria, it's not a big deal. You're not a predator. You're not even an animal. Like, you can't eat anything. But they meant, they used a big word for what, by the way, there's plenty of predator therapists. They're unhealed. They actually use YouTube to give you 10 ways to get under the skin of a narcissist. That sounds like a very not nice thing to do. And I'm wondering, why have they not disbarred the human being? Because that totally requires a disbar. I mean, I would definitely want to be disbarred if I'm not being a good mentor, coach, you know, helping people the real way. Oh, I don't need to cheer you on. I want to help you. Help. But, you know, if I pick you up from the floor and you keep falling back down, or you want to lean on me, get off of me and go somewhere else, because I ain't, you know, furniture. And also your nervous system, it continues to go down and down and down and down. So actions speak louder than words, because if you don't take care of your embodied brain, as Dr. Amy Pegan points out, neuroception, it's not about willpower. There's bad resilience. Oh, I know all about it. I see a fancy man and woman in suit. They got bad resilience completely, and they're not the only ones. And they look beautiful in their suits. God is good. And there's no monster inside of any of them. I always thought if there were ever a monster that they would be able to be strong. They're weak. Mental immaturity is weak. Just FYI, they don't even know how to keep themselves disciplined. As Hippocrates points out, everyone wants to heal until discipline is brought forth. I know all about the challenge of having to do my back exercises. This is my least favorite thing to do, is to spend time just moving. Like, come on, I have better. I want to use thinking. So did you know that there's 4 types of yoga? Let me get that for you, because it's been a while. Okay, so we have, thank you, lovely Sadhguru. He shared this with me. There's karma, kriya, jnana, and bhakti. And the ones who keep all of us divisive, yeah, they don't count for 5D. The spiritual, mystic, all of Christian Catholicism people, all of everything, you just bring it all in. We like to have fun with words, and then when they're like, you got it wrong. Well, what? There's no wrong or right in our worlds. You're all stupid. Yes, that's what we want to be. You can go play with the other 3-year-olds. We were left alone to have a good time with our creativeness. You're bursting our bubble right now, and Einstein told us to stay away from negative people because you have a problem for every one of our solutions, and you're not helping. We don't need you to take that nice block. We like our block. Go away. We're all going to stand up in choir with our Ventral energy and shine Care Bear. There we go. Power. Get away from us, you very boring black and white thinking human being. Did you not notice we moved into computers and we don't have color TV anymore? We have more than just that. Okay, so when people don't like change, they continue to make it sound like something's going to eat us alive. Does anybody remember calculators? I'm 45. I don't know how old you are, but I remember when I got taught, okay, you're not going to always use it. First, we're going to teach you how to do this really difficult math that you're like, I don't know, I don't need math. I'm not a geometrist or engineerist or whatever. But okay, I need to learn pi and not pi, and then you're going to give me the calculator. You can only use it for, okay, but can I? So I got it. I like to practice my brain too. There's always moderation. So that's the same thing with the AI. The good grown-ups know how to handle themselves and to say, okay, we're going to give you guidelines, because that helps so that you can use your entire body. And you know what the actual grown-ups also say? We can't impose on you health at all. Like, we will do our best to give you good guidelines. The rest is for you to remember. And when you get sloppy, there's no need to be ashamed. No. But how sloppy do you actually want to get is the question. When you know your worth and you feel healthy fear and emotions, you feel sad. For insecure people, you know why? Because I know, like, if you're still here, you know too. They're missing out on life and the opportunity to grow, not only flow for real in their body, because the restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating person has a flow state. Neuroscientists tell you all about it. They also miss out on love, on true love, because they don't love themselves first, so they can't know what love is. You treat yourself like shit. How do you say you love me? You don't love me. You are half-heartedly loving no one. And if you think you can half-heartedly love, as our lovely Sadhguru points out, someone, I'm going to add, if you think you can half-heartedly do a job, half-heartedly do life, half-heartedly, nobody does half-heartedly anything. And when you do get disappointed, you don't need to grieve it, depending on your level of mastery of that, which are the people who are half-heartedly doing life because they didn't go to take their insecurities to a therapist to become self-empowered. So when I meet the ones who don't own their sense of self, doesn't matter what their degree is, they can be a doctorate. They can have a mazillion genius. I'm going to notice if I got a weak one because they didn't go take ownership of their 0-1-year-old. This is not a race or a contest. I just know they got a 0-1-year-old who needs me to stand down, be quiet, allow them to have the floor, and just leave it. Because the minute I even bother speaking, I'm like, okay, I don't know everything, but what just came out is a timber of an insecure human being who doesn't have self-certainty or self-empowerment yet. And you are an adolescent, therefore, who just broke to me the news of something with, I know when I'm insecure of something, how I also speak. Okay, so you know your tone because you know your body, because you know your heart. But as you remember, there's not 100% answers anywhere. There's always a leap of faith. That's exactly why any of the 5D mystic, spiritual, enlightened ones will know. Do you know how many times I've seen choice points throughout our years so far with the ascension energies? It's hilarious. And so there's one choice point I knew that there were like sliding doors to opportunities. Even though at the same time I was like, well, this is how the world works, so I guess, whatever. It's none of my, I don't care, because I don't care to pay attention to lazy people. And anyone who's lazy is a person who's not getting themselves to be reparented with someone who's brave, like Patrick Tian. And so when I see a childhood trauma survivor, or whatever word they want to use, trauma chart, I don't care. You're not doing anything with it. I don't have a strong one in front of me. I have a reactive one in front of me. I have a person who doesn't know how to do neutrality, equanimity, and doesn't know you don't do anything by yourself. Actually, every day you get to meet people, and you get to meet the two-faced hypocrites. Because that's what a facade is to a person who knows how to be authentic. My facade friend. Be yourself. Just be yourself. What the fuck, dude? You didn't tell me anything about you not believing in God, and you're having me talk about God. Like, why would you waste our time like this? And I'm yelling at him, and he's like, So when you learn attachment trauma education, you understand why God keeps me away from people. It's a good thing. I actually now know how to leave it alone, look away, remember biological rudeness is not a choice, and therefore, again, I feel sad for those people on ascension days because they don't know how to get themselves up. And they don't have the mastery. They don't have the discipline. They don't want it. They just like to use. I want to heal. I want to be mindful. I want to go have fun. Now I want to watch you walk it and talk it. And now I want to watch you do it again. And then I want to watch how you don't get bored of life. And then I want to watch how you continue to wield your brain. That is how straightforward it is. And again, I'm 45, so I'm not going to say that age doesn't matter. I'm going to also say, though, I was doing this when I was a teenager. I'm not following you. I'm following you. Nope. I learned how not to be stupid. So, yoga, the 4 types. There is karma. So you do it out of your action. Then we got kriya, or bhakti, Bhakti does out of emotion, devotion, which is emotion, something like that. Nana, intellect, and therefore thought. And then we got kriya, transformed with energies. So when I think of these different groups, I think, mental, intellect, emotion, your body, the action every day you walk, and the energies, energy and motion, like Dr. Daniel Siegel points out, we're always going to have stress. Just good stress is different than bad stress. So bodies that are connected are the bodies who are going to expand on ascension days. Bodies that are not and that don't want it, they're going to keep doing what I've seen them do. So 4D, 3D, I really thought that they would break free from the bandwidth. They won't. Because I'm not laughing because it's funny, people. It's not. It really isn't. It's not even disappointing. It's I can't judge it. You see, physically, I can't speak it because I'm not God, and God reminds me. And I'm not you, and Jesus reminds me, you're not here to tell people what to do with their life. We already know who's doing that. And I'm not your parent. In fact, the place that I will begin looking at is home. The number one place. If you don't treat yourself with health, I know where to look. Nobody taught you moderation is key, a variety of a diet. I guess I got lucky like that. I just learned how, and then I got lucky with the stupid high school teachers who made us do PE, and then they manipulated their words, and I'm like, if I don't want to do it, I ain't doing it. And now my body makes me do it because I don't want to actually betray it. It treats me well, so I learned how to pout about it with you all. I still don't like to do exercises. That's how it works. You hear my 3-year-old, I got a 3-year-old, but I'm still going to do it, and moderately, and then I'm going to keep the nutrition up and all of that. Why? Because if I grow old, I need to get up off the floor by myself, and I also want to help another old person get up off the floor, and I'm already just 4'9". In the meantime, you got a guy who takes a course with Sadhguru and argues with him about picking up an old lady from the floor. I'm just going to let you know right now. I'm like, what? He interrupted him 3 times. He asked the same question. I ask questions when I don't understand something too, so I understand. By the 3rd time, I'm like, wow, what did an old lady do to you that you don't want to be responsible for picking her up off the floor? I mean, gosh darn it. I guess you must have gotten beat. Maybe has anyone watched Madagascar? Maybe he got that old lady that beat up on the lion. I don't remember what his name is, but that must be it, because this guy was just all over. I'm not going to pick her up. I'm not responsible. Okay, I mean, so ascension days, they have us expand, and that's for those of us who do spiritual and personal growth, and so we're lucky like that. We do restorative embodiment. That's why you're still here. Use science-based strategies for embodied awareness and resilience. And so what is exciting about this, as I was saying, is that science-based strategies, they are a perfect blend with the spirituality-based strategies between Akashic record readings, tarot, And that which is also Reiki, I can tell you that every single bit of that energetic sphere that is yours is going to be amazingly expanded, but your body is your first priority with EMDR, child parts work somatics for those who need it. Once their brain, and that's an embodied brain, is effectively doing the body connected, now, as Dr. Amy Pigeon points out, they still will be with that awareness, with their own sense of self, knowing how to work with that which is a fluctuating habit of that which is a body that I don't know. I don't know what it's like to only do sympathetic dorsal vagal, but I've met them. And actually, this is the thing, I can perceive that the brain is off. And so I learned how to ignore that, because Maria's like, I think you're not listening to me. Are you hearing me? Yeah, no, I heard. And then they repeat. So this happened like a certain amount of times, like, okay, this is, and then I got attachment trauma educated. It's like, okay, now you need to just watch for the signs. Keep talking. It feels odd. I still feel like I'm talking to a ghost, but they're not a ghost, remember. So just keep talking and try to make it as normal in your brain and just leave it alone. Because then when you try to also explain to them, again, dorsal vagal, they just look at you like you're a weirdo. And it's like, okay, I don't know. Am I a weirdo? I don't think I am. Maybe I use too much tough language, sophisticated. I can do better. I can break it down to you. Just Dr. Daniel Siegel gave me a hand model. I can do that. No? Okay. So some people, they hear the explanation and, oh, I don't need a therapist. I'm good. Okay. I mean, hey, I didn't mean to say it that way. I was not trying to offend you. I just like to do spiritual personal growth. And so I get informed and I know a lot of things. And, we're sorry for making it into serious conversation. And there you go. You leave it alone. I'm not laughing. My laughs are not because it's funny. It's a laugh of, it is what it is. Hakuna Matata. I tried. La Dolce Vita. I live it every day in a healthy way. And then there's the ones who live it in a very unhealthy way. And again, actions speak louder than words. Bye, Cusco. Have fun on your trip. I don't know when I'll see you. I think you're going to Pinocchio's Island right now. You might come back with ears, or you might come back where I really don't speak any of Donkish. But I'll say hi. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying. I'm not San Francis or whoever is the saint that speaks to animals. You know what? Let me be quiet. I think what you're saying is you want a hug. I'll give you a hug. Okay, so they're the key, science and spirituality. The practice is united to not only give you routines and habits that lead you to expanding, like you can see the authentic self and be fun with it, and then no, the ones who don't like us, we don't really want to hang out with those people either. Because no one says, no, it's not easy, it's not hard. Why are you bringing those words? Are you uncomfortable with my ventral energy right now? You don't like that I'm positive all the time. Yeah, I have a 3-year-old. She doesn't like that you're negative all the time. And I don't want to be around you because you're boring. And you're also intellectually unstimulating. And then you get grumpy. And I'm not interested in, this isn't adding to my golden nuggets. My playground is a lot more fun. Yours seems bare and there's nothing in it. Then I see Diego's family from Ice Age as they tease each other like assholes. And I actually have seen that. It's a really sad story to see it. When I got to stand up, kind of like Manny and Diego and all them, yeah, for a person, if you will. I mean, they are a person, and basically the pack of Diego, they really, because it's not cartoons, they're like, no, but we love them. Yeah, I know you love them. Yes, you love them so much. I see you love them. I love them too. And this is why I thank you for all of your words. I'm ignoring them because I love them just the way they are. No, they're not perfect, nor are you. We all have imperfections and flaws. There's no evil monster anywhere near me. Thank you so much for trying to actually, this is legit, trying to put a person, when someone's trying to put a person in the mud and you have no business doing this because there's no reason for involving me in that level of conversation. Because I'm an outsider and I actually have a good relationship, and you're thinking you're warning me, but you're really not warning anyone, because again, eyes can see, actions speak louder than words. And when you see Diego's family, it's not a pretty sight. It's like, wow. So I see two-faced, backstabbing liars who are teenager-like, who are very petty, who don't know how to live healthy lives, all of them, and they want to put one of them, they decided that they are going to be that. and that they have an excuse. Yeah, there's no excuse. That's just shitty behavior. And they're all also, no, they're not all ignorant. They actually think they know things about spiritual and personal stuff. Again, so when I meet hypocrites, I just have so many funny stories for you all. They're not hypocrites. They're adaptive child part versions of themselves. So get used to having Cuscos around, because the emotionally immature, insecure, unhealthy, sick minds, they continue to be around because they in next lifetime, I'm going to achieve equanimity. Yes, have your next lifetime. Again, ascension energies, every time they do that, there's a group and then another group and then another group, but we don't have 5 twin flame groups. That doesn't, that's just bullshit. But that's another story. So again, the twin flames, they're all great because the oversoul doesn't ever split up. They're not Diego's family. The only ones who don't actually ever achieve that, which is their enlightened oversoul, is the same ones who say, we lose people and cut them out of our life when we meet them because we're raising our frequency and they're not. I think you didn't learn how to turn the other cheek. I think you didn't learn how to use your ventral vagal or sit under the tree. You also didn't learn how to do spirituality. I think you don't own your sense of self. As you see, it's only when you own the core narrative relation and solo self, and I see you smile and know what Dr. Daniel Siegel informs us of for forgiveness isn't just I sit here and no, you process. And sometimes the grieving process takes 2 years, 6 years. We don't know, but it can take time, because that's the body of yours. So some will call it post-traumatic growth. Some won't, because it's emotionally charges that actually leave your body. So when you have an explanation for all of Ascension days, isn't it fun? I love it. I know that I loved getting the brain information stuff. So everyone contributes. Just some people contribute only philosophy and stories. And some, I do the stories, the new stories, and then I say, okay, here's the data for the physical stuff. And if you don't know happiness inside your body, please do take Dr. Amy Pegan seriously. I take all of healing trauma seriously. I just noticed that there's a lot of people, I'm a healer, how dare you trauma dump? You're a what? Come again. I don't think you're a actual healer, because what just happened is your sympathetic went off. A teenager version of you is there. I know all about mine. She gets irritated with assholes too. However, I don't use words like that. I actually don't do, it's more of, okay, thank you so much for reaching out. I appreciate that you have this many things going on and you shared. This is an honor, but I don't help in this arena. Actually, this is the arena helping. This sounds very important. And may I say, you're really brave for bringing it up. You mind going to this website? This is how a person who wants to help someone and who wants to use the word healer when you're not healing. Spiritual bypassers think equanimity is spiritual bypassing. No, equanimity is that which is called a common-centered human being with discerning, wise, good judgment, prefrontal cortex brain who knows love, because it's like, okay, you're irritated right now, and that is really not great, and you're not learning how to process it, and you think I want to pressure you to be happy. No, I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm trying to give you the opportunity to choose if you're going to use your mindset the growing way, and then notice if you still get pissy and don't know how to handle your healthy fear, anger, and basically sadness, you don't know how to handle your emotional plane. You need Patrick Tian, because that's the problem. If you don't want happiness, you obviously don't know disgust the right way either. Do you let people treat you like shit by any chance? Do you watch your back or look at videos about 10 ways to watch your back? This is Maria trying to help you understand why the 3D 4D ain't going anywhere. And what is not hilarious is the fact that they don't notice any of this, but they love their stories. And so it's just bountiful of people. I was told they wouldn't go anywhere. Now I know who they are, and I also understand why I need to stop with that and finish up our messages, and then we'll have some more maybe later. So science and spirituality, they are united with spark brains and those who are enlightened ones, and that's because, again, you know that they're not competing. Only people who have one-sided brains compete with words. It's like kids and a spelling bee. But not even. It's petty kids, because we're all going to have weaknesses and strengths. That's what we do in a herd. We help each other, right? So am I going to pick on your weaknesses? No, that's not productive. Am I going to be Diego's family? That's called low self-esteem, indirect communicators, passive aggressive. They're all petty people. That's why they're always going to be two-faced. And that's why they're not reliable, which is why we don't really pay attention. They just blah, 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 blah. They're just like the same backstabbing, ignorant teenagers I met. they actually don't grow any more knowledgeable. They can regurgitate material, and then they use really big, sophisticated words, and somehow they think that they can they can scare you with them. Oh, as I get older, I'm like, wow, these are people who are reactive, and they actually own more money and more houses and all of it, and they don't even know that. When you say if someone looks away, they can erode your confidence, you just told me how weak you are. Someone looks away from me, I'll just think, I don't know. Did I say something wrong? No, I won't think anything of it because I've met that many human beings who, like my facade friend, don't know manners. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because recently I got this thing that happened and I've been wanting to tell you all about it. But anyways, let me conclude with our messages. So when you unlock your full potential and your soul's journey, this is because that you got your heart's wisdom going on, and that's because you got your authentic self. So you know that we're all imperfect and flawed. And again, if somebody walks a walk and talks a talk, great. If they don't, they're missing out, not us. We won't miss out because we also don't cut people out of our herd just because they have a bit of bad habits, meaning like spitefulness, whatever bullshit. It really isn't that interesting. They don't get that far down the mediocre line because unhealthy self-soothing, the ones who become donkeys, yeah, we can't actually physically hang out. Do you realize I'm a 5D mystic, enlightenment, soul age group, functional child adult, Christian Catholic, with the mystic stuff, polyamory community, with the polyfidelity vessel, with then all of the other stuff, just letting you know I'm not I'm not actually oblivious to all of that, which is part of my journey. I love it. And that's why I love when I meet all the intelligent sciences people and mystic people, because we're like, yep, we're full of life. We have a lot of interests. We do see society. It continues to deal with things. And now that we're all settled in with internet showing us what we have grown-ups, one group, 5D, and then we have the other group. And they are entertaining us for now. Some might go off the grid because they will have decided that all of that which is technology is evil, and therefore all of their nightmares. Apparently, you know, we have people who don't mingle and tingle with any of us. It is what it is, as long as they respect the laws. That's why we have laws. So laws always take place, and don't worry, laws will continue to. I know all the people who are afraid of the evil thing, that's because they're afraid of humans. That's because they didn't get good humans around them. I'm not afraid of humans. I just know that they can be smart or the other. When I meet the other, I know they have 5 hands. By the time I learn their 5 hands, then I can learn a little bit more of their 5 hands. And then I'm going to notice if they're going to become the full-blown donkey on Pinocchio's island. And at that point, it will be pretty clear that there's really not much I can communicate because I don't speak the language, or if they're going to become a donkey with ears and a face and they continue to engage with me, and I know how to respectfully stop looking at the ears, look at the face, and like Pacha does with Cusco, try to point out we're different. And then if there's any kind, no, I don't point it out actually, I was just making a joke now, but the ones who do say, hey, you have a problem, that's martyr superiors. They also need to go get help, because you don't tell somebody that nobody needs anything. They can all learn how to read the room of the therapist on YouTube who give them really good signs. Hostile, doomsdayer, doer, and please appeaser, are we good, or the ghost, something like that. So everyone who likes to use words, the one thing I've noticed they don't do is have a check. I checked myself. That's why when people said, did you do all the attachment trauma for yourself? No, not really. But now that you mention it, yes, I got explained my panic attacks besides my mystic stuff, which I also know about energy body. So it's really great. I know I have child parts. My 3-year-old comes up with my mom. Anything else? Suffer? No, I don't suffer life. I actually know how to use my prefrontal. Ow, I can explain it to you, but you don't know how it feels because you don't apparently believe me. So when people don't believe that you know how your body works, yeah, they also think you can be addicted to cigarettes. No, I like cigarettes. I like them. Obviously after you get after that. But my point is now I only smoke cigars, just so you do know, but I'm not against people who do things like alcohol, a little bit. Moderation. Moderation is king. It's beautiful. That is what's going to show every single one of us, wow, we are really healed. Yes, because the trauma charges are very much something that are part of your journey. And then when you have a longing, self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart in the middle line where you're trying to continue to fill the void, that's exactly why, again, it's very important when people say it sounds like it. I didn't say it was easy. It's a journey, discipline, wanting it. I don't motivate you. You can motivate you. Means how much do you want to live life? And since there are people who have let me know they don't, and then they actually played a game called let me tell you that I'm going to kill myself, not do it, then come back around without even explaining it, which is the moment that a common sense person is like, okay, something's up, but you don't actually go thinking of things that you have no knowledge of. I didn't know about fantasy stages of the emotionally unavailable people. So once I found out, I was like, okay, so this is really not even a real conversation. It's just some ruminating. I don't even know how it works in their brain, but not my brain. Okay, so again, I know that there's a bunch of people who think that these types of individuals need to be given soft. I don't do soft or not soft. I can see clearly how many of them continue, because I know of them, make up excuses to not go and do what would get their health online. I feel sad for them, not for me. I've learned how to leave it alone. Actually, God protected definitely me, and I'll never forget that one. And it's not because something bad would have happened. No, it's because when you actually get to watch people you love go down the shithole, it's better to do it from afar, because close up, that's even more painful, as you have to respect common sense. You know what I mean? So I remember, as I said, that's nice, thanks God. I tried talking sense to them. The last conversation was very fascinating. No, it wasn't. It was actually completely clear. And as I said, are you sure you don't need help? Because I'm pretty sure where you're at right now, it's not really looking good. No, I'm great. Okay, I got taught that, yeah, you can talk all you want. And so the people who are aligned with their conscious and subconscious mind, they're the ones who take ascension energy days and they expand. And if you want, you can just talk about it as people knowing how to use life so that they can continue being loving, productive. Again, sad to say, I don't find it funny. I find it sad. I don't find it disrespectful to talk about drama kings or drama queens, because they all continue to be so. I find it sad, and not like the Neil deGrasse sad where he says it's education. It's not education. They are actively using all of social media and they're disregarding the signs, but they will go and say, I'm a healer, how dare you tell me that? I know all, here's the perfect model. You will see a bunch of people who give you a perfect model in a sales pitch and they have millions. I make fun of a woman and a man who are completely delusional, and I will leave it vague, because seriously, the minute that I saw these two, I was like, okay, you're fucking kidding me. And then I think of all the ones who follow them. So I create awareness so that all of us can understand these individuals don't consciously choose to have fear the way that it's unhealthy. Okay, so when they have these very poor examples of human beings who know how to wield their mouths, so much so, dangerous to have no emotions. You moron, no, you can't have no emotions. You physically can't, but you're wielding your mouth because you're wielding it. In fact, it's the exact wielding of a teenager who's like, I don't like the modern day therapists. They're trying to imprison us with all their equanimous stuff. These are cages. Not a cage. You just want to keep using your modulated embodiment. I actually got to see it as I'm learning smart stuff, and as I got to see experts look like ghosts, because they're like, no, what you just said is not it. And I hearing like, yep, I agree, experts. I don't know what to tell you. I'm using my money, and I'm again in the same situation I was in college. What is up with these people? How old are they? I need to ask their age. I need to start figuring out how old these people are, because really, when you're around people who are like that slow, no, it's not slow. They're obtuse, like teenagers, spiteful morons. I don't like teenagers. I still don't. And then I see them being, yes, I still processing, because I definitely don't like to be around people who don't know how to be not only minds that are intelligent, but fulfilling, happy, loving, and as their true self. So being you, mindful and flawed with integrity. My facade friend is the reason I don't yell at people in their face. And that's because I saw how he was insecure. He only has 2 people in his life that actually consistently care for him. And that's because one basically did what anyone who loves does. I know my friend is a friend, and it's not like because he has bad manners, and really I have bad manners in his opinion too. So that's the part. You don't actually abandon people. Love is where we can make mistakes. We'll say we're sorry, and eventually we'll say, no, you don't need to say sorry. This is not, let's just talk. And again, action speaks louder than words. So it's not something that you hold over someone's head. Forgiveness means you are able to work with emotions. And then being equanimous is the most amazing of energies. People who don't want to become their grown-up version, I have nothing to say, because there's other soul age groups besides the enlightenment one. So it's a choice point is what it's called. But in the meantime, we heal trauma starting with us in life. So ascension energies allow you to make choice points. And that's every day, but there's particular aspects that you will be growing from your spiritual and personal growth if you're a person who is of our 5D collective. And that's why you don't really have questions. You like to maintain what you're already doing. And then you know if you're sloppy or not, and you know how to integrate and insist on your own ways of doing discipline. And I don't want to use that word, but it is a little bit of it. So yes, it's very uncomfortable, meaning a pain in the ass, to have to keep up with my exercises and my diet and all that, for example, and all this moderation stuff, just because. But I know that it's important. And yes, I believe in miracles, but that doesn't mean I'm going to ignore that I have an age. And, so again, you don't ignore reality for that, which is stuff that we can talk about in more depth, not now. So IHP, we're a bunch of people who heal trauma, starting with us in life and our relationships, our behaviors, mindsets, routines, lifestyle choices, and habits. You are self-aware, accountable, and regulating in our ventral vagal state. And I need to grab some water, so give me 1 minute as we end our day. As lovely functional inner child adults, that's what I like to call us, we use neutrality and duality. We use the inner growth mindset to pursue spiritual and personal growth because we're enjoying the emotional depth and intelligence that comes from it. We're also enjoying the equanimous and discerning capacity of our brains, because when you're calm and centered, you then have mental mastery routines that happen. So you think and you feel, and you're just doing a lot of fun things. You also allow all of the other emotions to come up, and as you get just practiced in it, it really, emotions last 90 seconds when something upsetting is, but it's more of you accept with your human secondary consciousness, that which is, hello darkness my old friend, that's always something can happen. So we enjoy our physical life. That's also part of our growth mindset habits and routines, and we're mystic, spiritual, mindful, and secular science. They all join us too. It is the ability, as Sadhguru points out, to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader. And I get to bring human, spiritual, and spirituality elements and sciences all together to look at human evolution, consciousness, and you being yourself. And so that's something that we actually have a lot of fun doing. I know I do. And to conclude, as our lovely Sadhguru shared yesterday, like it or not, life will make you perform all kinds of circus, juggling, and acrobatics. If you're prepared, you can do it joyfully. And we are definitely able to do it joyfully as people who know magic works through us when we are powerful with our lovely body and connection. Now you're in the lead, and you're not acting as if you know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about because you have the healthy and empathic boundaries. You give and receive with grace and gratitude, like Jesus taught me, God and Holy Spirit. You will have learned from wherever, and my mom, she taught me that too. This and that are true, and above all, you're using the prefrontal cortex. So in the now, like Jesus taught us, that everyone has the kingdom of God within them. Everyone is part of the kingdom, and in fact, angels walk amongst us. They can heal. If they don't, they're not monsters. They are simply people who do not want to have a gentle touch in their minds when life sends them their mysteries. They don't sing their song like my facade friend for real. They sing a pretend one. And when life stings them, they will say a bunch of different things. One day they can do it. One day they can't do it. One day it's great. One day it's horrible. And then they continue to do that. And so they don't want ventral vagal energy, playfulness. They disregard that playfulness is how we keep clarity of mind, and then it's also how our body is able to be in silence, because again, we're taking a leap of faith. Every relationship, like life, it's a leap of faith. That's why when Buddha or whoever it was that says, if you looked up and smiled, you know everything is going well. Yeah, God doesn't punish his children in scary, monstrous ways, nor does Akash, nor does Anima Mundi, nor does any empowered feminine. And it's actually easy for an empowered feminine to tell you, we call bullshit the minute somebody makes someone out to be a monster who's a human, because you're dehumanizing them. I don't need to do anything else. You think you're entitled to dehumanize a person. You've never walked one day in their footsteps. My facade friend, I made a very specific conversation with him and I said, you judge books by their cover. You consistently think you know everything. I did it as a kid. I know I don't. You, though, are judging again and again and again people. So it's very easy to spot the self-righteous energy of the teenager version of all the people that are out there for a person like me, and to remember that conversation 3 years down the line, me being presented with the same MO and then meeting more people like that. So two-faced hypocrites is an exaggerate. No, it's a teenage version of me saying, yeah, I don't do bullshit. I don't know what to do with cowards. Oh, wait, I forgot. You told me, Jesus. Thank you. I'm just going to allow myself to keep walking and talking, because cowards don't amount to anything due to the fact that they continue to gossip and be little petty fools. Because that's how it looks like. When you think of Cusco, don't think, oh, Cusco at the end continues to lie. Lying is bullshit. Bullshit means I get to manage what is basically an immature number of whatever it is. It's not mine. So people who want to leave their immaturity within them, they're going to live their life. It's half-heartedly. If you have been put through unpleasant situations in life, you should be sensible enough not to put anyone else in such situations. Thank you, Sadhguru. And as Patrick Tian puts it, humanly speaking, self-righteous energy, he says, is often learned and is the reserve of childhood pain. That is aimed at others. By the way, these people who don't heal carry on not only this transgenerational trauma, their own trauma, everything. So they are really hypocrites on a number of different levels. So it will be aimed at others directly or privately, and that being self-righteous feels good at the moment because those people have control and the upper hand in their minds, obviously. And then they don't have, though, intimacy or kindness, which is very clear, like my facade friend and a bunch more of people, which really, again, you just learn that it's biologically rude people. You don't feel sorry for them. You feel sad for them, and then you feel neutral about it because you realize they don't care about themselves or anyone else, and that they're just going to play out. This is a 0-8-year-old, so really it just becomes like, okay, I got a 0-8-year-old. Let me humanize it so that when I'm dealing with it, I learn how to be the grown-up that I'm looking to be, because I don't want to treat anybody in any way, shape, or form by being a person who's triggered by their nervous system. I can differentiate and just self-regulate. I can take it as an opportunity to become more of the master of Maria and just know that I'm the grown-up in the room. And that's with one person, 2 people, 100 people, it doesn't matter. And so you just recalibrate easily and you humanize, not dehumanize. So those who are caught up in the self-righteous feeling often have to decide, thank you, Patrick Chan, what they value and recognize. That they were set up for contempt and self-righteous from parent to child. So he's saying they get to decide if they're going to value getting out of this, and then if they're going to notice that they were set up for it. So that's where I'm saying self-awareness, accountability, regulation. Our community heals trauma seriously, beginning with us. We don't bring contempt, self-righteous. We work on it. Somebody points out, I think you're passive-aggressive. I'll think about it. I'll work with it. I'll notice it. And I'll notice if I had a charge. And if I had any kind of charge and I have stuff that I can work on. Thanks. You did me a favor. You just helped me to learn how to be more equanimous. You didn't do me a not favor. So I get to learn how to differentiate more and take ownership of my nervous system and my brain, which is what a grown-up is supposed to know how to do, by the way. It's called self-regulation. In addition to empathic boundaries and not doing, I'm a healer, how do you trauma down? That's not, again, you're not a grown-up. What are you doing? I get frustrated too. I don't use these words with people who need help. From parent to child, it's essential to not pass it on. Yeah, well, always do the best you can for whoever's around you, because tomorrow either they may be gone or you may be gone. Thank you, Sadhguru. And actually, this is where Sadhguru and his lovely wisdom, only when you are in absolute tune with existence do you know it the way it is. Otherwise, you know it the way your mind interprets it. And there's a bunch of self-righteous people who are interpreting. So with their amygdala and their frontal lobe swapped down, they continue to act like superheroes and supervillains and to do their karma and to do their 0-8-year-old. So in the meantime, it isn't something good or bad, as my lovely channeled guidance message sentence came through. I forget when it was, but I read it already to you. It will be as it always has been, just with dharma, not karma. And I know why. It's thanks to the science-based strategies and the good therapists who are helping every person who will take the responsibility and the honor to become their true self, and then will join us. And for those who won't, we will not be pointing them out specifically, but they're two-faced hypocrites who are insecure, immature, and sick minds because they get to not be a healthy, stressful human being. if we want. We can play with words just as much as anybody else. And when they go and tell me that they don't believe in modern day therapy and that they have all the proof, I'm like, okay, do you hang out with your peers? Are you still in research labs? Do you come together in summits of all of the people out there? Because, see, I might not be in, but if they invite me, okay, I'm going to go hang out with a bunch of people with different minds. If somebody begins to get up and start chasing me, I'll run. No, I'll be like, okay, where's the guards? Okay, look, this is a summit. We have different opinions. There's no need for this. There's no need. You don't get angry. We need somebody to calm them down right now. So, I mean, really, this is not something. We need better mediators, but we need them all to be people who own themselves. So, own their embodied brain. I'm sure we're getting there. We're getting there. Have a wonderful day. We might be back again with later some more. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by.